Alright, I'll make one. Hi and welcome to another Origami Expressions video. Ever since I started this channel, people have been banging on at me saying, when are you going to make a video showing how to make the traditional origami crane? When are you going to make the crane video, Russell? Why haven't you made the crane video, Russell? Russell, show me how to make the crane. Well, I finally got around to doing it. This is it. If you want to know how to make the traditional origami crane, this guy, keep watching. Okay, we're going to make a traditional origami crane. Now you can use pretty much most sorts of paper for this. Even ordinary printer paper will do. I'm using a sheet of standard origami paper that is 15 centimeters or 6 inches per side, and it is colored on one side and white on the other. I tend to use folded square paper for this. There's numerous different varieties and brands and manufacturers of origami paper. It's a matter of personal preference, but that's the one that I use. I will put a link to it in the description below. So the traditional origami crane is made from a bird base. So we're going to go ahead and make one of those now. So take your piece of origami paper and with the colored side up, fold one corner to the other corner. That's one corner to the other corner. It doesn't really matter which, we're going to be folding both diagonals. So fold one corner down to the other corner. Be as precise as you can with this. The more precise you make your folds, the better your model will be. So try and be reasonably accurate with that if you can. So that's one diagonal. If you need to just kind of do one diagonal to the center and then do the other diagonal to the center, that's fine. The paper will sort itself out when it comes to actually folding the base. So focus on trying to get those corners as accurate as you can, like that. And then when you've done the first diagonal, unfold it and fold the second diagonal. So one corner over to the opposite corner. Again, try and get that as accurate as you can get it. Focus on the accuracy in the corners really. And then if you need to just fold one corner to the center and then the opposite corner to the center, then go ahead and do that. The paper will sort itself out in a minute. So I'm taking my time over this one because I can't quite look down across the top of the paper because the camera's in the way. Right, so that's the two diagonals. Now we're going to turn the paper over and fold one side over to the other side. So that's a fold straight down the middle. One side over to the other side. Like that. Again, a nice, good, strong, firm crease in there. Like that. Okay, that's a book fold. So named because it looks like a book. Now unfold that again. And we're going to fold the top edge to meet the bottom edge. That's the top edge down to meet the bottom edge, and the crease will run through the middle of the paper. This time, leave it folded. So, top edge down to meet the bottom edge, precise in that corner there, and in that corner there. Like that. Now make sure that you have the folded edge away from you, the open sides are towards you, and we're going to hold the paper on each side and just swing the corners together. Okay, just swing the corners together and you'll end up with the paper looking like that, and then just arrange the flaps so that there is 2 flaps on each side. Lay the paper down and squash all the folds nice and flat. Like that. Let's just check the arrangement of the paper here and make sure that you've got it oriented the right way. So you should have the open point towards you, the closed point away from you, and 2 flaps on each side. So there's 1, 2, and there's 1 and 2. Okay. So the next thing to do, this by the way is a square base or preliminary base. There's many bases in origami. The bird base is actually built on the square base. So we're going to fold this edge in to lie along the center line. Not the point to the center, that's wrong. This edge to lie along the center line on the top flap only. So we take hold of the top flap and we lie that edge along the center line. Okay. Try and get this point reasonably precise. Like that. And leave a little bit of a gap up the middle. And then squash that down. Ooh, that's not very good. There we go. Do the same on this side. So that's this edge here to lie along the center line. That's this edge here to lie along the center line on the top flap only. So we take this edge and we move it to lie along the center line. Again, try and get it nice and precise in the corner there and leave a little bit of a gap along there. Make that a nice firm crease. Like that. Now we're going to take this top point and fold it over down to about here. It's as far as it will go. So the fold line will run along the edge of these 2 flaps here. Okay, and this top point will come down over as far as it will go. So let's take that up and we'll put the crease line in along here, fold it over as far as it will go, like that. Make that a nice firm crease. Fold this one well because you're going to need that crease in a minute. And then unfold it again. So you can see there's the crease line. Unfold this flap and unfold this flap. Now comes the step which is probably the hardest in making the traditional origami crane. We're going to do what's called a petal fold, which is what actually makes the bird base. So to do that, we're not going to put any new creases in the paper at all. We're just going to use the creases that we've got. So there's no new creases going in at this step. We're going to take this top point here on the top layer only. I'm going to fold it up to about here along this line. Now you might want to watch this first before you do it yourself. I will do it more than once so you can see. So it's just the top layer of paper. I'm going to put my finger underneath and I'm going to take this top layer of paper and I'm going to move it all the way over along that crease that we've already got. So like that. Okay, so you can see there is the crease line. There's the crease line. It's just going over there, and you can see that these edges are starting to want to fold in. So I'm going to take my finger out and I'm going to fold those sides in along the creases that we've already got. And now I can encourage the paper to lie flat. Like that. Okay, I'll do that again. So it's just the top layer and we're going to put a crease in along this point here. Well, it's the same crease. We're not putting another crease in. We're using the same crease line. So I put my fingers inside underneath. I lift that up and move it all the way over along the crease line that we've already got. You can see the sides are wanting to fold in, so we'll just let them. In they go, and lay the model down flat. Again, reinforce these creases. It's good to use the back of your thumbnail to reinforce these creases. Don't do this with your thumbnail because you will scrape the colour off the piece of paper. But use the back of your thumbnail to just press down on the creases, like that. Okay, so you have a sort of diamond shape on one side and a square behind it. So let's turn the piece of paper over, and we're going to do the same again on this side of the paper as we did on the other. So it's this edge here to lie along the center line. This edge here will lie along the center line. The crease line will actually run up here, and the edges will line up underneath. So we're going to line this edge here up with the center line. Like that. Try and get the corner reasonably precise. That will do. Not bad. And then just line the edges up here. Okay, like that. Do the same on this side. So that's this edge here. Fold in to lie along the center line. That's this edge here to lie along the center line. And the crease line will go from here to here. Okay, and the edges underneath will line up. So again, we move it in. Try and get the creases reasonably tight at the corner. Now you can see here that my layer underneath wasn't very good, but that's fine, we'll run with that. So we'll just reinforce that crease. There we go. Then we take this point, this flap here, and just as we did before, we put a crease line along there. So take that flap, fold it over as far as it will go, and squash it down. I'll show you that again. That's this small flap will come down as far as it will go, and the crease line will run along the top of those two flaps there. So down it comes as far as it will go, and reinforce this crease well, because you're going to need it. Unfold that flap, unfold these two triangles, and then comes the petal fold again on this side. So we take just the top layer, put a finger underneath it, and take that top layer and move it. Using the creases we've already got, over it goes. And you can see the edges wanting to fold in. Okay, let's do that again. Take this top layer with your finger underneath it, just move it up as far as it will go. You can see the sides wanting to fold in. So we'll do it. Just let the sides fold in along the creases we've already got. And then just encourage the paper to lie flat so that it matches the layers underneath. Like that. Just reinforce those creases. Now let's just check the orientation of the paper and the layout of the layers to make sure that you've got the paper the right way around. You should have two little kind of half-size flaps at the bottom, almost like legs really. And at the top we have a big flap and a small flap in the middle and another big flap underneath. Okay, so keep the legs towards you. Those are what's going to be the head and tail of the traditional crane. Now this is a bird base. It's a fairly traditional, well, it is a traditional shape. There are numerous things that you can make from a bird base. This is probably one of the most common basic constructs in origami. So it's worth learning how to make one of these. So to make the traditional origami crane from the bird base, we're going to start by doing something very similar to what we did a minute ago. We're going to fold this edge here to lie along the center line. That's this edge here to lie along the center line. Like that. Marvellous. Nice, good, firm crease, reinforced with your thumbnail. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So that's this edge here to lie along the center line. This edge here to lie along the center line on the top flap only. So there we go. Well, it's not very accurate at the bottom there, so let's just kind of turn that round. There we are, a bit of help. And then reinforce that crease well as well. Okay, let's turn the paper over and do the same thing on this side. So that's this edge here to lie along the center line. That's this edge here to lie along the center line, and the edges underneath will line up. So take that edge, fold it to the center line, like that. And then just reinforce the creases. It's a bit scruffy down here, but I know what I'm going to do in a minute to hide that, so let's not worry about that. And the same thing on this side, so we'll take this edge here and fold it to lie along the center line. That's this edge here to lie along the center line, and the edges underneath will line up. So I'm going to spin mine round simply because it's easier for me to fold at this angle. Okay. Now to make the neck and tail parts of the crane, we're going to use two inside reverse folds. Now an inside reverse fold is something that is worth learning if you're going to do much origami, because you're going to come across it a great deal. But I'm going to show you how to do this the easiest way possible. And then it's worthwhile actually working out how to do it in one go rather than several steps, because it will help you become familiar with origami as you go and go on to fold other models. But for right now, let's do it the simplest way possible. So let's start by, on the top layer, fold the one layer over from left to right. Okay, that's the top layer only from left to right. Then we're going to turn the model over and do the same thing on this side. So on the top layer only, fold left to right. Okay, so now you have two long flaps at the bottom and two thicker flaps at the top. On the top layer only, fold the bottom point up to meet the two at the top. That's this point here, up to meet the two at the top. On the top layer only, beg your pardon. The crease line will run along these creases that you can already see. So let's just put that crease line in there, like that. A good firm crease, like that. And then turn the paper over and fold this point here up to meet the collection of points at the top. This point here up to meet the collection of points at the top, and you're going to put a crease line in which is here along those creases that you can already see. So up they go, and you can see that this edge now, these edges here all line up. So make these creases nice and good and firm. Then we're going to fold the layers of paper back. So on the right hand side, take the top of these two thickest layers, if you like, and fold all of that paper back over to the left, trapping this point inside. turn the piece of paper over and do the same thing. So it's on the top layer only of these kind of 3 big thick points, if you like. Fold it over from right to left, trapping the points inside. So now you have this big flap and 2 small flaps hidden inside and another big flap underneath. So to actually bring out the head and tail parts, all we do is we reach inside, grab hold of this point and pull it out. Just ease it out so that this edge goes past this point here, like that. So you want a nice gap there. And same thing on this side, we're going to reach inside, grab hold of that point there, and then pull it down like that, so that there's a nice gap here. Now, I told you I would find a way of hiding all that scruffiness in the point. Here you are, it's gone. So now we need to make a decision about which one is going to be the tail and which one is going to be the head. I think this is a nice sharp point here, so I'm going to make that one the tail. So just because it's easier for me, I'm going to turn it that way round. This one is the tail. This point here, I think, because it's already slightly opened, would look better as the head. So to make the head, we're actually going to put another reverse fold in, but the easiest way of doing that is this one, is to just do it. So I'm going to put my thumb against the inside of this flap. Ooh, I don't know, about 1/3 of the way along. Put my finger on the top and just bend it down, like that. And then just kind of stick your thumbnail in there and squash the point flap. There we go. Just like that. So I'll show you that again. I'll put my thumb against the inside of the flap, my finger on the top, and just kind of bend it down, push in the top and squash it. So you can see it looks like that. Now it's revealed some of these layers at the top here, but I think that actually looks quite interesting. So I'm fine with that. So you can see what it looks like on both sides. Now that is actually all the folds involved in a traditional crane. There's one more step to do, which is to just kind of bend out the wings. Now a lot of cranes that I see have a fold put in here, so that then the wings stick out at right angles and then this middle point stays quite thin. Now I don't think that's really the best way of folding a traditional crane. You see a lot of them like that, but I think it's probably not really the best way of doing it. So what I like to do is to fold it in a softer way that I think looks more 3-dimensional and a more pleasing shape. So the way to do that is take hold of your crane, and then with either the head or the tail facing you, it doesn't matter which, put your thumb in between the central flap and the wing. Do the same on the other side, so you have your thumbs in between the central flap and the wings, like that, and then gently ease your thumbs apart. You'll see that this central flap starts to change shape. There you are, okay? So that's eased out, looks far more interesting. And then the last thing to do is to just roll your thumbnail around a finger on the end of the wing to just kind of create a bit of a curve in the wing. There we go, just do that a few times to just create a nice little curve in the wing there. Do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to put my thumb there and just roll it around that finger and just shape the end of the wing. That one looks actually slightly better, so let's do this side again. There we go. There we go. There you have it. A traditional origami crane. So there you have it, the traditional origami crane. It only took me about 4.5 years to get around to doing this. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you were able to fold along. If you did, please give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I've uploaded another one. You can find more of my stuff on my website origamiexpressions.com or in my book Origami Made Simple, which you can get on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.